what the fuck? I don't need this. Okay. So, this is my first time making one of these live stream videos. I'm gonna respond to this one video that has been out here for a minute. And I just wanted to respond to it because it has one of my favorite people in the world, Sheriff David Clark. Yes, this man right here has given me so many, what do I say, like ruptures, like, you know, how you're, never mind, I'm not gonna finish that sentence. Anyhow, okay, fucking bitch. Okay, we're just gonna get started.
Police officer in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. For over 39 years, I was a police officer in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. For 15 of those years, I was the sheriff of Milwaukee County. I've done everything you can do as a cop, from walking the beat to investigating murder to running the agency. I've met a lot of cops of every race, ethnicity, and background. Here's what I can tell you.
So I'm going to stop here and I'm going to begin by explaining why this is kind of something that PragerU always does, is they take this person who has credentials but isn't always the best person for a particular topic, and then they throw them in these videos and they believe that they have an expert in this field telling you what's good or bad. They do it especially with their fossil fuels ones, where they'll get like the scientist or, you know, an energy executive or someone, and they will go on these videos and they will talk you shit until your face is blown. And Sheriff Clark is not anyone new to this as well. So this is something that they've been doing for years, since the first conception of their entire existence to even today. They bring someone up who has much more of a conservative leaning on a topic, and they explain things in 5-minute videos, even though they are filled and laced with fallacies. So let's see what David Clark has to tell us.
Cops are not perfect. That's not a news flash, but this might be. They don't have to be perfect. They have to be excellent. And most officers reach excellence every single day, and often under very difficult circumstances. Circumstances you can't imagine and wouldn't want to if you.
So I'm going to stop. I know I'm stopping right in the middle of the sentence, but I want to begin by explaining how in the PragerU video, it's going to begin with, you know, these are my credentials, and then we're going to start off with a basic topic. And this basic topic is something that everyone, like, agrees with. Like, you know, police departments and police officers, they go through a lot dealing with everything out in the streets. So, you know, we're going to begin with a basic notion that is going to be something that we all agree on. And then there's going to be a huge jump someplace along the line of reasoning, where we're going to go from talking about this idea to verging off so far to the right, we don't even know where we're going.
Perfection is an unattainable goal. Cops are ordinary human beings, like everyone else. Lawyers, surgeons, and baseball players, they make mistakes. But no profession works harder to correct its mistakes. You can mark.
So, it's a bit of a hasty judgment. I'm not gonna, like, you know, trample it into the ground, because that would kind of be foolish of me, because in like when you're a police officer, you do have to deal with things and you have to be on your toes, because one wrong move could be the death or life of an individual. And so he's making a good point here, but we're gonna see where we verge off.
Social progress by the improvements made by police departments over the last 50 years. Today, police are more professional, better educated, and better trained than at any time in their history.
So that's kind of confusing, because I don't know if they have any evidence of this at all. But when we see these, you know, brutality videos or other things like this, you know, it doesn't seem like in most circumstances all the time that they are professional or better trained than they were 50 years ago. Because even the idea, the notion of a police state is something that is a complex social institution that is necessary but can be abused. So let's talk about 50 years ago. So, 50 years ago, police officers, particularly in the South, were used as the means for the segregationist and the racist ends. So, when you went out on the streets and you protested, the police were there. They were there. They were, police beat people, they arrested them. And so what we end up seeing here is an institution that right now is being revered by PragerU. But as an institution, especially a social institution, it needs to be critiqued, and you need to be skeptical, because people can they can make mistakes. Okay, a police officer is going to make mistakes throughout their entire career. But when it comes to these mistakes, it depends on if you're making a mistake like, oops, I accidentally arrested the wrong person, to I'm going to shoot this person and beat them into the ground. There's a big difference between them. And the one thing that Bill Maher, who I enjoy, he puts up there the idea of giving out more health services to police officers, because they have to deal with this. They deal with people all the time. They deal with, drug addicts and all of this. And we can get into the nitty gritty about it. But overall, it's a stressful job, and it can be mentally, it can deprive you of your mentality. And so it is best for us to have better mental services for our police officers. But we also need to put in some way a restriction, like a limitation on it. Because when we have a huge increase in incarceration in our prisons, when we have the militarization of the police, when a police department is getting tanks, like, there's this idea that the government is the best thing in the world and America is this best place. But at the end of the day, one day America might not be the best place. One day America could be, a shithole, a dystopian society. That's that's a problem, and we don't want that to happen. So it is best to limit our institutions as much as we can, because in order for people to not abuse power, you take the power away from them. So when we talk about having a limited government, this is what we should mean. We should mean having a limited government in which we we have oversight into our governmental institutions, and we limit them by enumerating their powers or stripping them of them. So here, when they're talking about it being better trained, more professional, it's changed over the years. The laws have changed. Warren Court really changed the scope of police. You've got Miranda rights now. So 50 years ago, yeah, they're probably better trained. We understand psychologically more things now, but there's still problems out there. We still find these police brutality videos. We still see these things going on. And maybe there's a lot, there's just an over frustration within the police department. And we've just got a few bad apples that these videos are getting. But in the last 5 years, there have been a lot of people dying. And there have been entire movements to prevent these deaths. And they have been taken out of context and they have been deprived. So at the end of the day, it's kind of, you're kind of tossing the coin in the air and hoping that you're getting heads, but every time you're getting tails. It's just it's just complicated, but it's also a little bit verging off. Anyhow, let's just continue.
You wouldn't know it though if you listen to self-serving, self-righteous politicians and activists.
We're gonna stop here, and we're gonna talk about how this is kind of a tool, is to take the other side and break them down into something that they're not. So when we talk about Black Lives Matter, we're talking about, sometimes they have two different goals. So you have Black Lives Matter. The main notion is that black individuals can go out in the street and not be shot. Okay, just general notions like that. Did I stop it? Hmm.